एकेडमी के ट्रस्ट के तौर पर रजिस्टर करिए। इससे आप ग्रांट्स के लिए एलिजिबल हो जाओगे। ग्रांट्स के लिए इक्विपमेंट और डेली ऑपरेशंस का प्रपोजल देना होगा। मैं ग्रांट प्रपोजल और ट्रस्ट रजिस्ट्रेशन चेकलिस्ट बना दूं।
Higher Math Center Live is presented by Higher Mini LED.
Hello.
3 down in the power play for Nepal. Arif Sheikh joins Dipindra Singh Airi. They're desperate. But again, a deep third and a deep fine leg in play. And he's going fuller, Jason Holder, looking to go full. But sometimes you see the advantage, even with the error ball, of having a deep fine as opposed to a deep square.
Yeah, you have to say, he's got the feel for it. But yeah, searching for that fuller length, trying to extract whatever there is in the surface. Jason Holder, he'll be disappointed with his performance with the ball against England. He conceded 34 in his 2 overs. So a big spell for him here today. Get back into that rhythm, contribute with the ball. He was brilliant with the bat. Such a key man for this West Indies team. And if they are going to progress further into the next round and hopefully from their perspectives into the semi-final, you do feel he's the man. He's going to have to stand up for some big performances through this tournament.
If you didn't know, there's a game later on tonight of some consequence. Surya Kumar Yadav leading India against Pakistan. There'll be just a little bit of interest in that across in Colombo. 7 p.m. Colombo time. And you're absolutely right in that even though he didn't perform with the ball, he is integral to this bowling lineup as a leader, as a mentor to the other seamers, as an exponent of bounce. And what I was curious to see is whether he'd go full or whether he just looked to hit the splice of the bat, not short to pull and not too full to drive. Can he just hit the splice of the bat to the shorter statured batter? That sort of length, hitting the splice of the bat without being short. 5 overs gone, 19 for 3.
This rivalry begins with loving, but finishes with them losing. ICC Men's T20 World Cup, India versus Pakistan, today at 6 p.m.
First 11 a.m. start thus far here in Mumbai at the Wankhede Stadium. Felt it was going to be a big toss, proving to be such already. Nepal in all sorts of trouble. Huge numbers of their fans have flown and taken trains and buses. Some travelling as much as 40 hours, I gather. Real live case of planes, trains and automobiles, but right now they're shell-shocked because they're in real trouble. Take a quick single. Irie is very fast indeed. Think he would have just got home. Perfect time for me to welcome Samuel Badri. Samuel, firstly, good morning. West Indies, going well.
Hello, Lenny. Hello, everyone. Good morning to all. It's been that kind of start. They are known as the cardiac kids, aren't they? They need to bring out that Himalayan heart. They're under pressure, losing 3 wickets in the power play is never easy. But credit to these guys, the West Indians. They've come out with a plan, and they're really calm and in good stead at the moment.
Matthew Ford into the team. Exceptional start from him, including this wicket maiden.
Yeah, the way he's been able to control his length has been quite exceptional. Another thing that we've noticed is the number of deliveries that he's gotten seaming away from right-handed batters, something that Ian Bishop was mentioning a little bit earlier. And this year, 35% of his deliveries have left the right-handers.
Seen a lot of talk, Sammy, haven't we, throughout this tournament, where the associates have been so impressive in so many ways about trying to get them more opportunities. Darren Sammy used his pre-game press conference yesterday to say they do deserve more opportunities. And I think Cricket West Indies deserve huge credit, don't they? They agreed to a 3-match T20I series, not with their full-strength side, in September in Sharjah for the inaugural Unity Cup, 2 countries that have shared great relationships. A West Indies A team went to help Nepal prepare for the T20 World Cup 2 years ago. They loved it in Kathmandu, and it was a really competitive series, that one. And I suppose one of the benefits, I know there's difficulties for the full members trying to get those games in, because if they lose ranking points, significant ranking points, and they did lose that series 2-1. One of the benefits for West Indies, they knew exactly what this Nepal side were going to be all about. This is the same 11 pretty much that beat them back in Sharjah 5 months ago for Nepal.
It really is a wonderful discussion. I heard you mentioning the responsibility of the full member nations when they tour Asia, a quick trip across to Nepal to play a few games. When they travel to the West Indies, a quick trip to the US to play a few games there. South Africa, a quick trip to Namibia. So you're right. You're absolutely right. The more competitive matches these guys play, the better they become.
Will be a single, but it's the lowest power play of this T20 World Cup so far. Just 4 runs in the last 3 overs. Nepal are in all sorts of trouble early as we get to the end of the power play. Time for a drink. 22 for 3.
सिर्फ 15 दिन बचे हैं। प्रेशर में अभी भी लाइन बिगड़ जाती है। सिलेक्टर्स आखिर देखते क्या हैं?
सिलेक्टर्स देखते हैं कंसिस्टेंसी, सेम लाइन और लेंथ पर फोकस करो और एक्यूरेसी ट्रैक करो, कंट्रोल अपने आप आ जाएगा। मैं तुम्हारे लिए 15 दिन का लाइन कंट्रोल ट्रेनिंग प्लान बनाऊं।
मजा आ गया था यार।
ओ भाई 15th के लिए रेडी?
आपको हराने के लिए ऑलवेज रेडी।
हल्के में मत लेना, ग्रेटेस्ट राइवलरी है।
अरे आपकी टीम को हल्के में कैसे ले सकते हैं? वैसे भी ग्रेटेस्ट राइवलरी को 7-1 से 8-1 जो करना है।
ICC Men's T20 World Cup, India versus Pakistan. Today, only on Jio Hotstar and Star Sports.
Lankan Lions will defend their fortress with pride as the ruthless Aussies are arriving to take it down. Who will storm into the Super 8s first? ICC Men's T20 World Cup, Australia versus Sri Lanka, Monday, 6 p.m.
Heroes of the T20 World Cup. You ready or not? Alive and handsome. You ready or not? Tell me you ready or not? It's on to the man in the moon.
ICC Men's T20 World Cup, every day at 6 p.m.
Really spread apart, that is a much younger tree. So normally it takes a little bit longer to play in and play nicely. You can then get
Real live case of planes, trains and automobiles, but right now they're shell-shocked because they're in real trouble. Take a quick single. Irie is very fast indeed. Think he would have just got home. Perfect time for me to welcome Samuel Badri. Samuel, firstly, good morning. West Indies, going well.
Get bats like this, however, with nice tight grains, 12, 13. These guys you can pull straight out the case and step into an international game and play. Another thing that you can consider is the shape of the bat. So we call this a duck bill. The middle is quite low. We're in the subcontinent. It doesn't bounce as much. And then you get a nice flattening of the toe to kind of balance. For someone like a Jason Holder, tall man, hits high and hard at the back end, he has less of that bill because he wants more meat in the bottom. And then we talk about height. And I would suggest an Jason's bat. But that's a little bit of insight into different bats, different sizes, different shapes, and what you can potentially choose, the one that you love.
Fantastic stuff from Carlos Brathwaite down pitch side, explaining all the different kinds of bats, different weights, different shapes, different sizes, the grains going across the front. And I can promise you that these West Indian batters in particular, they seem to have the pick of the bunch, don't they, in terms of the way they clear the rope. Right, Nepal, well, power players they could have imagined even worse in terms of runs than the Omani effort against Zimbabwe in Colombo. Probably have the right 2 men at the crease in terms of this consolidation phase. But they're going to need to try and accumulate some runs too, Sammy.
Yeah, because that launch phase was so troublesome for them. They need to, as you so rightly mentioned, get going and get going quite quickly. There was that moisture that we spoke about before the match that both teams were trying to exploit. West Indies won the toss and they got off to a really good start picking up those early wickets. Matthew Ford making a triumphant return to the team. And then Jason Holder with his very first delivery. West Indies won, remember, their first 2 games batting first. They were sent in. It is a much preferred option for them to chase, although their record isn't that great when they chased. But now it's an opportunity for them to have a little bit of a chase as they look to go further in this tournament. The toss is not guaranteed. So you want to make sure that you're firing whether you bat first or whether you bat second. A nice little challenge here for them.
To whip it over the head of the mid-wicket fielder who'd stayed up in the circle. And Nepal, they slide further. The extra height and bounce of Holder does the job.
Whoa. Yeah, wickets in consecutive overs make these fans happy, not those who've come in from Nepal to support their team with a lot of passion and alacrity. Matthew Ford did well here. He was circling a little bit. Akil Hussain was lurking close by, but he held his composure. And a good catch in the end. Yeah, that's relief. That there is just bare relief from Matthew Ford. Another one goes. Sheikh goes for 223 for 4.
मैं ग्रांट प्रपोजल और ट्रस्ट रजिस्ट्रेशन चेकलिस्ट बना दूं।
Not just potentially a heavy defeat, but an early exit from this T20 World Cup. Just how good of the way came into this tournament after series against Afghanistan and South Africa, where they're a bit indifferent. They've been exceptional since.
And maybe the height and holding on the surface, the undoing there. A good catch, keeping his eyes on the ball. I did mention that Akil Hussain